Hi, friends. Welcome back to Rapture and Chill. I'm Brooke and I'm back. Sorry for disappearing on you guys last week. I realized I was overdoing it a little and I just needed a quick break. So I'm back now. But before we jump into our topic this week, I do want to give you guys just a quick little update on me. We have now been at this for 8 whole weeks, 9 if you include the one that I missed, and I love it. I'm so grateful to you guys. This year feels like my year to get my ish together. The past 5 years have been a combination of getting to know myself again and also working through some pretty gnarly mental health struggles. So, doing this podcast has been helping me more than I ever expected it to. I've been learning so much, and being able to work through all the dichotomies and paradoxes with you guys makes it that much more fun for me. What I definitely didn't expect is that somehow, over the course of these past 2 months, I've really started to actually want to live a full life again, which I haven't done for years. The weight of the world basically put me in the fetal position from like 2021 through 2025. And that's not even including COVID. But here I am now, blissfully unmedicated and open to all the good things that are undoubtedly in store for me. So I've decided that we're going to call the first 10 episodes of Rapture and Chill Season 1. I will for sure be coming back, but I have some other things that I feel called to focus on right now. And what I definitely don't want to do is overwhelm myself and put myself back into a stressy and depressing mindset. That is counterproductive. So after this week, we'll do 2 more episodes to wrap up season 1. And then I will focus on decluttering my house and turning my podcast set back into my dining room for a while and maybe move my man out to the country. I don't know. We'll see. So, moving on to the good stuff. Got some great feedback on our episode about Mary Magdalene, and I really did love how that one came together. Her story is so much more interesting than what I grew up hearing about her. And Mary was a bit of a badass. So, today, we're keeping with the theme of the badassery and moving in a direction that I have truly never been. We're going Scandinavian. If your only exposure to Norse mythology is by way of Marvel movies, don't feel bad because I haven't even seen most of those. Before researching for this episode, I knew absolutely nothing about Odin. So, shout out to my sweet Stevie for harassing me into finally exploring this topic. I hope it's your favorite episode yet, babe. This is episode 8, A Flipped Perspective, Odin's Awakening. Okay, guys, here we go then. Sorry, I love a pun. So, if you're anything like me and know nothing about Norse mythology, you might be picturing Odin as that guy with the beard and the horned helmet and that shiny gold eye patch. But let's just erase that image up front because our guy isn't some comic book character. His origin story is pretty interesting. So, we've looked at a few different creation stories by now, and we've seen primordial voids and primordial waters. But according to Norse mythology, before creation, there was a freezing void called Ginnungagap. Gradually, 2 polar opposite realms formed on the edges of this giant void, which is confusing to me because how do voids even have edges? But just go with me here. I don't want to go too deep into this part, but it's important to understand the order of creation. So, to put it plainly, the northern realm was ice and the southern realm was fire. Eventually, the ice and fire expanded so much that they collided, and the steam formed the very first living entities. Ymir, a primordial frost giant, and Althumbla, a giant primeval space cow. The very first god figure was Buri, who was created when he was licked out of a salty block of cosmic permafrost by that giant primeval space cow, truly. And then somehow by himself, Buri had a son named Bor, who married a giant, or a giantess if you feel so inclined, named Besla, who happened to be a descendant of the frost giant Ymir. Bor and Besla are Odin's parents, which means Odin was half god, half giant. It's almost giving Nephilim, but that's a topic for another episode. So they had 2 other sons as well, Odin's brothers, Vili and Ve. As gods typically do, they wanted to expand the universe, but Ymir and the rest of his frost giant offspring had completely taken over and were running around invoking chaos everywhere. So, the 3 brothers killed Ymir and used his remains to create the physical world that we live in, or Midgard. Most of the other frost giants were apparently killed as well because they drowned in Ymir's blood, but not all of them, not Besla. Once the world was built, Odin established Asgard as the kingdom of the gods and became the Allfather, which in the original Old Norse meant all ruler or master of all. And that is about as brief as I can make his biography up until the point of his awakening, which is what I really want to focus on. It's definitely not your run-of-the-myth ego death story, that's for sure. Odin's portrayal in pop culture makes him seem like some powerful, noble grandfather figure, but that's quite a stretch from the picture that ancient Norse texts painted of him. I don't even know if you would technically refer to him as a good guy. He didn't really do good things. He was ruthless, but he was obsessed with obtaining ancient and cosmic wisdom. And to understand why, we have to first look at how the Norse viewed the universe. During the Middle Ages, specifically between the 8th and 11th centuries AD or CE, the Norse lived in Scandinavia, which is now, of course, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. We also know them as Vikings, of course, but back home, they were just the Norse or Norsemen. The terrain was icy and rocky, which made it really hard to farm, and that's how they became the master shipbuilders that we learned about in school. They believed that even though your physical body dies, your reputation lives on forever. And that is one of the main reasons Odin was so intent on learning the secret wisdom of the universe. Even as a god himself, he wanted that ultimate legacy. According to Norse mythology, there are or were 9 worlds, and they were all intertwined within the roots and branches of a massive world tree called Yggdrasil. Remember in episode 2 when we talked about how the Maya viewed the Milky Way as a giant saber tree? They believed that the straightening of the tree would occur when the world was spiritually aligned, and that would allow all of the different realms to connect so that energy and knowledge could flow freely between the gods and the people. I want to draw that parallel because we see tree symbolism in so many different ancient religions and cultures, including Christianity and Buddhism. And you know me, I love a synchronicity. Odin was the king of the gods. He was strong, he was powerful, and he had armies. But sitting on his throne in Asgard, he looked across the cosmos and realized it's all an illusion. Earthly power and physical strength mean absolutely nothing if you can't even master your own reality. He wanted to understand the Matrix. He wanted the runes. And if you want an overly simplified explanation of the runes, I would say that they're basically like an alphabet, but realistically, they are so much more than that. Runes aren't letters, they're like the source code of the Matrix. Think of them like symbols that work as a cosmic cheat code that you can't Google. And as we all well know by episode 8, the universe does not give up the goods for free. If you want an awakening or the cosmic truths, you have to work for it. Odin was a god, but he wasn't an exception to the rule. The price he would be expected to pay for the secrets of the universe was painfully high, and he didn't back down from it. As part of his quest for the Norse version of enlightenment, he traveled down to one of the 3 roots of Yggdrasil to drink from the well of Mimir, which contained some of that cosmic knowledge that he was looking for. The guardian of the well, you guessed it, Mimir, knew who Odin was and told him that a drink from the well would cost him his right eye. So Odin just reached up, popped out his own freaking eyeball, and dropped it in the well. As soon as he took a sip of that mystical water, the vision he lost was replaced with ultimate, multidimensional spiritual sight. But that wasn't enough. He still wanted the runes, so he went full send on self-sacrifice. He used a rope to hang himself from one of Yggdrasil's massive branches, upside down, by his feet, over a bottomless void. And because our guy believed in badassery and not half-assery, he also drove his own spear straight into his side for good measure. I mean, he had to make sure that the universe knew he was totally serious, right? And he hung there, upside down, bleeding on the bark of the universe tree for 9 days and nights. 9 days, guys. He didn't eat anything or drink anything. He didn't take any breaks. He was completely detached from all of the earthly comforts that he was accustomed to. He wasn't a king during this sacrifice. He was completely alone. Just Odin and the excruciating physical pain that he felt for 9 whole days. He spent that time staring straight down into the black depths of that abyss below him, clearing his mind and starving his ego in order to face the darkest corners of his own consciousness. On the very last night, when he'd reached his absolute breaking point and the old version of himself had died, It finally happened. The cosmic void below split open, and the runes revealed themselves to him. He screamed at the top of his lungs. I'm picturing a gym bro hulking through the last rep of whatever gym bros do. And he snatched the secrets of the runes out of the darkness. By the time he hit the ground, he was reborn. But what does that mean? I think that just like in any religion or culture, whether the specific event actually happened isn't what's relevant. There's a bigger lesson to be learned from it. Mythology isn't just a bunch of fairy tales. The stories and the themes are symbolic. When we look at Odin's awakening, there are several important things to note. First of all, he was hanging upside down, and that is not a throwaway detail. When you're upside down, your entire view of the world is inverted. Up is down, left is right, and the only way to make sense of the view without reverting to your upright position is to change the way you're perceiving what you see and how you think. You're basically forced to adjust your mindset. The number 9 itself is also symbolic because in Norse numerology, 9 is the number of completion and cosmic cycles, kind of like the number 7 in the Bible. 9 months in a human pregnancy, 9 days in the tree. He basically had a 9-day gestation period and gave birth to his newly awakened self. Another important detail is the spear. In many ancient rituals, piercing the body represented the opening of the physical vessel. So by stabbing himself with a spear, he was not only allowing the spiritual energy in, but he was letting his ego and all of that spiritual clutter out. The entire sacrifice itself, of course, is the starkest metaphor of all. It's very different than how we see awakening or enlightenment in other cultures. He didn't go to a church or a temple to ask for permission to receive the truth. He knew it was already inside of him, but the only way to get to it was to get rid of everything that was hiding it. His ego, his pride, his physical comforts, all of it had to go. In many different religions, people who are devoted to enlightenment choose methods like fasting, celibacy, and solitude as a way to sharpen their spiritual tools and help them connect to the divine. Clearly, Norse culture thought there was something to that as well. Mindset is everything. I know I've said it over and over, but you guys, it's literally everywhere. This point is in every single topic that we've researched. Your mindset dictates your reality. In 2026, of course, we have quantum mechanics as a way to at least attempt to explain how and why an observer can affect the matter that they're looking at. Obviously, the Norse didn't have quantum sciences, but they still understood the concept that everything is energies and frequencies, and that's the purpose of the runes. The Norse knew that the only way to change the frequency of your life was to go to the darkest parts of your mind, clear out the clutter of your ego, and let the divine light of the universe or God illuminate your consciousness. It's not a coincidence that the same lesson is in all of these different ancient mythologies and religions. I promise I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that most of my friends right now are going through some sort of internal battle. Some of them are feeling stagnant in a career or relationship. Others are struggling to find their purpose because they can sense that they're being called to do something different, but they feel like they just can't figure out what it is. It's like there's this general sense of unease and tension that's affecting everyone. And if you ask me, and to be clear, nobody did, that's hell. Whatever this spiritual misalignment is, that is hell. It's not a place, it's a state of mind. But everything that you need to know is already within you. Meditate, reflect, let yourself be guided. You know how sometimes you'll be minding your own business and then a random thought pops into your head and it'll be something crazy, like a far-fetched idea that doesn't at all feel like your own, but it's still really exciting. And then you immediately shove it away and block it out. So, I mean, yeah, it'd be cool if you could somehow make that idea a reality, but no. Even thinking about it's too overwhelming. I know you know what I'm talking about. What if those random, crazy, far-fetched ideas have been coming to you for a reason and you're ignoring them? I know we have a lot of distractions at any given moment, but if you're desperately searching for a way out of your own darkness, you have to slow down, shut up, and listen for the answers. Use some of that discernment we've been talking about and start paying attention. When it feels like nothing makes sense and everything is backwards or inverted, give yourself some time to adjust your perspective. You're not failing. You're just strung up by your damn feet, waiting for your breakthrough. Obviously, there's much more to Odin's story after he received the wisdom of the runes. But today, I really wanted to focus on his awakening and that type of self sacrifice that he endured to basically gain access to his higher consciousness. He became a wandering shaman of sorts. But still, I definitely wouldn't say that he used that gift for the greater good. I guess that's free will, though, right? Hopefully, as we awaken, we all choose to move with more compassion. Well, Odin for sure fits a different archetype than some of the other ego death stories that we've covered. I promised you a badass. I did not say that he would be a warm and fuzzy one, but I think that's just further evidence for everything that we've been talking about. Odin didn't have the same type of good versus evil moral compass that we do, but his role still served a purpose to further the cosmic evolution by acting as an agent of chaos, essentially. Yes, that is quite hypocritical considering why he killed Ymir, but according to many different ancient traditions, we only exist because chaos exists. Maybe that's true. If it is, then that's exciting because we know that we're going to get through this. Don't get discouraged if things feel particularly gnarly right now. It's part of the journey, but it's not the whole trip. So stay the course. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I would love to tell you what I'm covering next week, but your guess is as good as mine. What do you think? Whose story should we look into next? Let me know in the comments. I hope the rest of your week is beautiful, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Rapture and heavy on the chill. Until next time, I love you. Bye. So, if you're anything like me and know nothing about Norse mythology, you might be picturing Odin as that guy with a beard, a horned helmet, and a shiny guide. Oh my gosh, what is even going on?